Yes, traffic, everything is back. All the nastiness is out there.
Minus the traffic, plus lights, and plus LCC tool working
Oh
perfectly.
my goodness gracious.
Today's Thursday, the 6th of June. Join the conversation inside of Business Express. Use that hashtag on Twitter at Smooth91FM, Business Express 91, or send in messages through WhatsApp to 0809444091. Also, you can watch us in the studio through YouTube.
Yes, I'm pointing at the camera right now. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so holiday yesterday, holiday day before. There's a holiday next Wednesday. Yes,
That's what I hear.
One more,
Oh boy.
one more next Wednesday. So
Wow.
of course, the stock exchange, no activity. I'm not going to go over the numbers again because that was totally last week. So trading will resume, but of course, the market was down the last time trading took place. Let us talk about steel. Steel. Yeah, let's talk about steel. So speaking of Stanbic, our lovely sponsors, they are collaborating with Standard Charter to fund a $600 million steel plant in Kaduna State. This was announced by the ex-Minister of State for Mines and Steel, Mr. Abubakar Buhari. That's BWARI, just to get the spelling. Yeah, Buhari. Yeah, I think I hope I have the pronunciation correct. So Stanbic IBTC and Standard Chartered, they're going to be collaborating, providing about $600 million in funding for this plant. Apparently, it's going to produce about 3,500 direct jobs. Have to be very careful about stating that. So it's 3,500 direct jobs, and there will probably be extensions or indirect jobs that will now flow from there. So it's quite a bit of money that is being invested by these two banks in order to get this steel plant going. Now, when we talk about steel, and we're joined by Ugodre. Ugodre, good morning to you. Welcome.
Hey, morning, Lagos.
Yeah, so do we hear him? Yeah. Okay. Great. So, Ugodre, I was just talking about the investment here by Stanbic and Standard Chartered to try and get this steel plant going in Kaduna State. The capacity 5.4 million metric tons per day far outpaces what our dear Ajaokuta Steel is supposed to be doing, which I believe is about 1 million metric tons per day. Yeah?
Which has been moribund for years.
Money. Exactly, right? I think this thing was established, what, 1970 something? 1970 something, yeah. And yeah, right. And I think about 8 billion has been poured into it, up until this point. It looks like Ajaokuta is in need of privatization, right? But that doesn't seem to have happened. What do you think as far as this new steel plant that's going to be coming up in Kaduna? What are your thoughts?
Well, interesting story. I mean, when I read it,
and it's in Nairametrics, by the way. Actually,
yeah, I thought it was a good development. It's just that I mean, it's still on paper, so I don't know. You're looking at this and you're saying, look, I mean, it's just some kind of catchy headline,
right?
Story, or is it really something that's going to happen? And then when you look at the two banks that I mentioned, Stanbic and Standard Chartered, well, these are not small banks in terms of their reach internationally. I mean, globally. So you would think that this is the kind of project that they can actually fund, but then neither of the banks have actually come out to say anything or to confirm that there's a deal like this in the pipeline. We just heard this from the outgoing
minister who wanted to pump up his legacy.
Way out already. Okay, so we don't know if the new one coming in would say, or if it's the same person,
right?
If they're going to sustain this. I know this is still in discussion. I'm always a little bit careful, especially when it comes to public-private partnerships.
Okay.
Where it's state government or where government is partnering with private sector to fund some kind of projects. Most times, I mean, it can drag for a while, and that's because the government often doesn't play its own part, its own role. So, for example, a project like this will require government pulling up land, giving them mining rights, providing access roads and things like that. And I mean, you never know, man. Rotus just might not happen. Yeah, it might not happen. But if it does happen, it's a good one. I think there's a lot of investments required in the steel industry in Nigeria, especially mining.
Right.
We have a lot of steel plants, steel companies here locally. But then mining steel itself, raw material, it's something that we think that we can do. Just one of those natural resources that Nigeria has that we can export, incredibly well. So it'll be good for the economy if it does happen, especially for jobs in the up north.
Right.
This can be some kind of oil for them up there. So I mean,
so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's still on Ajaokuta though. Last month, the president rejected a Senate proposal. They wanted to take $1 billion from the excess crude account they called it the Ajaokuta Completion Fund Bill, but he rejected it. Yeah, he said that at this particular time it was not the best strategic option for Nigeria because of budgetary constraints. Some folks, I kind of supported what is his decision at the time, but where do we go now with Ajaokuta? What are your?
I mean, I agree with him. At this time, it's a laudable idea move, but then strategically, considering the revenue constraints we have in the country, I mean, you got better things to do with $1 billion. Come on, man.
Right, right.
Put it into Ajaokuta. I really are you okay? Do you want to do that?
Not again.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things. There's healthcare, there's education, there's capital expenditure, the real one, not the tables and chairs and computers that you see in budgets.
Yeah.
The real capital expenditure that we need to actually expand this economy. It's a lot of things to do with $1 billion than to come and sink it into a project that you know that they might never complete. I mean, that's basically been a pipeline for a lot of people, especially for workers in the Ministry of Mines and Steel.
Right.
So we don't want we don't want to see money going down the drain again. Like you said, maybe we should privatize it. They've actually tried to privatize it a few times in the past, but it just hasn't worked. Yeah, I mean, and like, who's going to buy it? At the end of the day, are you going to buy it for $1?
Because
Maybe.
what you're buying is not just infrastructure as it is, but you're taking over the responsibility of maintaining it. You're taking over the responsibility of revamping the equipment that are archaic.
Yeah.
So much money is going to be sunk in before it even starts operating in the first place.
So are we saying that $8 billion that has been invested since 1971 is gone?
Yes.
So, okay, well, I mean, wow, it just seems like a tragic waste because there's still so much that has to go on there with that for it to come on board. Anyway, we move on from that. Ogudre, SMEs, this is another announcement again, but what do we do? The precedent for this was the one between Procter and Gamble and the Ministry of Trade and Investment, saying that they had signed an MOU for an SME academy that was supposed to be able to assist. What was the number? 34, 20 or 30 million SMEs. Now we have here the OPIC, which is the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, saying that they've committed about $200 million to assist Nigerian enterprise to scale and create jobs. What Ugojo is already making a face. What do you think? What do you think about?
I'm just saying. I mean, like, keep them coming. Like, is it a problem to you? I mean, like, you seem like we beating this. I mean, like, keep it coming. I don't think we can complain too much, especially for. I mean, I was going to say over the weekend, over the last, the break with some friends about, the opportunities that entrepreneurs of today have,
right,
compared to entrepreneurs of, say, 20, 25 years ago. So and that's access to funding. Access to funding is actually very limited for a lot of entrepreneurs today. So access to funding means that they can't scale, isn't it? You can't actually scale. So you see foreign investors coming to Nigeria with foreign capital, and then they take on businesses that ordinarily you and I should be able to do.
Right. And
that's because they have patient capital, capital with very low interest rate, or very, very competitive, or in fact, low returns tied to it. And they can use that to invest. So for a lot of small business, you and I, it's difficult to get this kind of capital. You really can't expand. So that's why you have a lot of lifestyle businesses in Nigeria. So, but with funding like this, people can, gradually, start a business and hope that you can scale it. And scaling in the business is not necessarily just taking money and just, plowing it in things that don't make sense. Scaling basically is you scale your business in terms of revenue.
Right.
So you're constantly growing your revenue, you're entering new markets, you're expanding beyond Nigeria,
right.
You're probably even exporting, you're hiring people. So you're going from maybe 4 or 5 staff to 1,000 in about 3-4 years. That's scaling.
Right.
You're having branches, offices built across. You have a sprawling business. That's basically scaling a business, and that's what Nigerians need. So when you have a system where a small business can has a path to grow from small to medium to large, and that's incredible for any economy. I mean, like we've seen what's happened in the West. I mean, a lot of Western economies is like that.
Right.
So businesses start in someone's garage, and then before you know it, is employing 20,000-30,000 people. So that's the kind of scale that we need, and funds like this. I mean, if it comes, it's okay. Help. If it's just another headline item,
so be it. Okay, but wait, what about infrastructure challenges? It's good to have capital, but then when you now think of what you pay for power, other regulatory issues.
Yeah,
What about that?
correct. I mean, that just shows you how difficult it is to do business here. And despite all the infrastructural challenges, we still have businesses that scale in Nigeria,
Right.
at least to a large extent. I was talking to a billionaire.
Yeah, yes, yes, I
over
know
the
who you, I think I know
weekend,
who you're talking
and,
about.
and then he was telling me that look, that it's been difficult, expanding his business. He made a decent acquisition 2 years ago that was headline, but it's been difficult expanding into areas in the north, right? And that's because of the insecurity problems that we're having. So it's not
Right.
even infrastructure alone. So
Right.
he says, look, how can I expand there? There's a lot of insecurity, but they're gonna kidnap my people, my
Right.
men. If I send guys there to go and work, they can't work. They're uncomfortable. He's also thinking, can he expand down south? I mean, are they going to kidnap his guys? So there's a lot of security concerns restricting his expansion. And saying, look, maybe we should just restrict this to within, Lagos, Abuja,
Right.
and perhaps maybe Port Harcourt, and then let's just see how things pan out. So that alone, so it's not just infrastructure. So he's saying that, look, I know there's infrastructural challenges, but I can deal with those ones
Right.
to a large extent. But where I have a problem is actually insecurity and all of that. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yinka says Dr. Joaba once gave a classical contract cycle in Nigeria. First, they claim they discovered steel at a location. Next, they give out contract for fencing. Next, contract for pickup vans and black tinted jeeps. Next, contract for accommodation. Mind you, not a single steel has been mined.
Since
No
that
one,
time.
no
Yet
one.
about 5 contracts don't show.
Wow.
Next, they scatter the whole thing and we start again.
Oh,
Now,
boy.
that's Ajaokuta Steel in brief. Thank you, Inka.
Sad.
Mike says steel plants, Kaduna has that with that capacity. How they export it? Will they move products on that road? Okay.
See, that's another one. Thank you for that, Mike. Rail, you can't. There's some stuff. That stuff is too heavy to even go by road, so you need rail to do. So that's one of the issues that we're facing.
Yep. EK says Ajaokuta is not a pipeline deal. It's a pipe dream. We need not throw more taxpayers' money into the waste drain. Kewe says, good morning.
Good morning.
Kewe from Ikoyi. First off, have the banks involved made a statement on the steel processing plant, or is it just propaganda?
Yeah,
Next.
Ugodre mentioned that, so they haven't. Yeah, good point.
So
Good
next,
point.
are there iron ore deposits in Kaduna? What informed the choice of Kaduna as site location? Where will raw materials be sourced from? Next, are they getting import waivers for importation of processing lines and others?
Solid questions. Well, Kogi is still the main iron ore deposits, the deposit site. So that's still what they're focusing on. Good
Benga
questions
Komu
there.
says, especially because of transport costs, logistic
Right,
costs of
exactly.
moving the products and raw materials. Benga Komu says, scaling a business in Nigeria is adding one staff, probably the founder's relative. Oh boy.
Bingo. All right, Ugodre. The World Bank back in the. Okay, we're wrapping up real quick. They've revised our growth down again.
Well done to them. Well done to them. I mean, I can see people are really working hard in their data room, research room. They're crunching numbers all the time, like doing a whole lot of hard work, such that they just revised the numbers down by 0.1%.
Yeah, but when they made a headline.
It will definitely come up in Fresh Press 91. So
yes,
tune
indeed.
in so you can listen to Ugodre analyze. Beyond well done.
Ugodre of Nairametrics. Thanks for joining us, and thank you all for your messages as well. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
All right.
Next, we enjoy some nice tunes here on Smooth 98.1, and after that, 7:30 will be time for us to bring you detailed analysis